Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another quick video, another quick boxing video here for a fight on Saturday night between Jamel Herring versus Jonathan Oquendo. First off, this was Jamel Herring, his return after like 2 or 3 postponements due to the COVID-19 virus. He tested positive a few times. So gotta say shout out to Jamel Herring, for making his return to the ring and, finally being able to defend his world title. But, this was a victory that he wasn't really looking to get in this fashion. He was in a very rough and ugly fight with Oquendo Saturday night that led to him defending his belt by eighth round DQ. They disqualified Oquendo Saturday night due to some intentional headbutts, and it came down into that last moment that it was like at the end of the eighth round, where they were in the corner, and Jamel Herring, he suffered like 2 cuts from headbutts, and he came back to the corner and told Bomac that he couldn't see anymore. So they were thinking that it was, this was going to be a loss, even Bomac. But Meeks, the referee, he told him that if it was intentional, if the headbutt was intentional, then and it caused the opponent to have to quit, then that means the other fighter that caused the headbutt, they get disqualified. But I think that if it was unintentional, the headbutt, it would have led to them going to the scorecards. I think it went to the scorecards. But since it was intentional, and the referee, he claimed it to be intentional, Oquendo, he was disqualified. But just going back and looking at the fight real quick, man. I've been hearing a lot of different things. I've been seeing even Ring Magazine on their on their page. They kind of been posting up, some kind of harsh words to Jamel Herring, and Timothy Bradley and Andre Ward. They were kind of like on different sides of the fence a little bit here, but they both kind of felt in certain ways that Jamel Herring was kind of looking for a way out of this fight, and I could kind of understand where people were coming from with that. But at the same time, I feel like Jamel Herring, this fight did leave a bad taste in his mouth, and he didn't really want to win this way. Nobody wants to win in this fashion. But at the same time, I kind of feel like it's just like people at work sometimes, or any type of game, they have an off day. Of course, we're supposed to say we're supposed to bite through it and, fight through it, fight through the blood and all of that, which is true, and I wanted to see Jamel Herring do that as well. But sometimes people just have off days, and you got to remember, this guy, it tested positive for COVID a few times. You don't know where his mind state was or his physical well-being was at the time, where, he probably just was feeling, a little off rhythm. Having fights put off so many times, he was probably just feeling a little bit off rhythm, especially after testing positive with COVID. You don't know if you're going to lose your life, or, if you're going to affect other people, if you are going to box again. So Jamel Herring was probably just in another mind state, mixed with the boxing mind state. So it was so confusing at the time, where you're dealing with the rough and ugly type of style like Oquendo. There was probably so many moments where he was just irritated. Like, he wanted to box, but there was just so many like headbutts coming in this ugly style, where it was like, I'm not boxing like I wanted to or expected to, but I'm in here wrestling so much that, there was probably some moments that he probably was looking for a way out, or, he just felt like, I'm not up to it today. You know what I mean? But other than that, Jamel Herring was putting on a good boxing performance against Oquendo. But there were moments he could have done better, in my opinion, too. Like where, not Andre Ward, but I rarely agree with Timothy Bradley, but there were moments where Timothy Bradley was right, as far as, Jamel Herring not using his height advantage. Because he's like 4 to 6 inches taller than Oquendo, but he was letting Oquendo really push him. Where all Jamel had to do was use that jab, stick the jab out in Oquendo's face. Because if you go back and look early on, first few rounds, Oquendo, he wanted to establish this rough and ugly pace, whereas the southpaw and Jamel Herring, he wanted to stay on the outside and pop that jab, and that's what he was having success with. When he found his range and he was throwing that long jab and the straight left hand to the body in the first early rounds, it was okay. The pace was okay, but at the same time, Oquendo was coming in with that head, and when he would come in, Jamel Herring, instead of like switching angles, he would just grab him and start wrestling with him. He would just grab him and just start clinching with him, which was kind of, bad on his part, because he was wasting a lot of his own energy. Jamel Herring going to waste a lot of energy trying to wrestle with this guy, and that's what he wants him to do. At the same time, while you wrestling, he's got his head in a position where he's rubbing in your face, or he just comes straight in and, he's headbutting you on the chin. So for me, I felt like Jamel Herring, he would have fared better if he would have used his legs more. He didn't use his legs too much in this fight, which again, that could have been something to whatever was going on outside of the ring. You know what I mean? So Jamel Herring, him being 34 years old, Oquendo 37, you should still have a few more years on your legs where you can, move around, use angles, and stay on the outside and box, this shorter, rough guy. Because, Oquendo's throwing punches, but he's not throwing until he gets on the insides, So Jamel Herring had plenty of good moments where he could have just started throwing the jab from the outside and popped the left hand, which he had success with. In the third round, there was a moment where I said, even before this happened, I was like, okay, this guy's coming straight in with his head out, chin out, high guard split open. So all he needs to do is land that straight uppercut, that left uppercut straight up the middle. And finally, when he did that in the third round, he landed a flush on Oquendo's face and dropped him. And I was like, okay, there we go. If he continues to set up shots like that and, time Oquendo's rushes, he could knock him out. I was like, he could knock him out. But again, he kind of fell into that wrestling pit with Oquendo again, coming straight in, just grabbing him and wrestling. He come out, they would get split up, and then Jamel Herring would go back to boxing. But it was like Bomac said in that corner too, you need to stop, because it was like in the fifth round, the way Jamel Herring would like lean over to his left, he leaned right into the on-rushing head of Oquendo. So Oquendo would like bash him right in the face, and that's where that first headbutt came from in the cut. So, Bomac was like, stop leaning to your left, because when you lean to your left, you go right into his head. And that's what I was saying too. I was like, when he's like leaning, he's getting hit right in the head with headbutts. So when that happened, that opened the first cut. Going into 6 and 7, there was just a lot of roughhousing. Now, I know that Herring was winning a lot of these rounds. He was winning with the straight left hand and, just landing the better body shots and jabs, but he was making it too rough and ugly. Like he was letting the headbutts and that ugly style just really get agitated. It was really agitating, which I think that down the line, maybe past round 8, it would have started to favor Oquendo, because when Oquendo was really getting under his skin with this style, he was really getting under his skin, even though he wasn't landing that many punches. So when it went into round, I think it was in the round 8, again, another headbutt opened up a cut on Herring's eye, the same eye, like blood was really pouring, which I was just like, they just need to wipe that up, clean it up good, and he should be able to see. But, Herring was complaining in the 8th round that he couldn't see. But I think it was just the blood, I think, because, it wasn't really, damaging to the eye from what I could see. I mean, if you go back and look at Stipe versus DC, the rubber match, man, DC took a bad finger to the eye. If you look at his eye, his cornea was damaged, and you could really see that there was damage in that eye. There was really damage. It was no blood. It was just damage from the finger in the eye. But this one, I think that Jamel Herring just had blood in there, and they just needed to wash it out in between rounds. He probably could have continued, but at the end of that round, he just kept saying he couldn't see. So Bomac was like, you want to stop it? Because if you stop it, it's going to cost you a victory. It's going to cost you your belt. But the referee, he was kind of, he kind of intervened and said, okay, if the headbutt was intentional, we'll stop the fight, and it won't go to the cards. It'll just be a DQ on Oquendo's side, which it turned out to be. So overall, it was turning into a good competitive boxer versus pressure fighter, kind of like Floyd Mayweather versus Ricky Hatton. But as you see, Floyd Mayweather, he knew how to get under Ricky Hatton's skin, because this dude want to come in and be a mauler like Ricky Hatton. But you see what Floyd was doing. He would catch him with 1 or 2 shots, like the check left hook or the straight right hand or the jab to the body. And then after that, whenever Ricky get in, he'd initiate those clinches and be the stronger guy in those clinches. Whereas in this fight, Herring, he let Oquendo come in and Herring would grab him, but Oquendo was the one really pushing him back and rubbing his head in his face and kind of doing the damage, physical mauling damage, So Herring was kind of letting that agitate him. If you want to grab, you got to initiate those clinches, and you got to be the rough guy. You got to lock the arms up and kind of toss these guys around, So I think Herring, he was winning the fight up to round 8, but yeah, I think that at that point, his heart, it wasn't really fully in it, and he just kind of felt like, this style's getting annoying. I don't want to deal with this all night for the last 4 rounds. He's doing damage to me without punches. I don't want to keep fighting this type of rough guy. So in a way, I think he might have been looking for a way out, but at the same time, I don't think he wanted to. He didn't want to do that, but something was just telling him, I don't want to keep dealing with these headbutts. But yeah, man, overall, like I said, I ain't trying to be too harsh on Jamel Herring about this. He's been dealing with a lot, especially with, like I said, this COVID-19. So, I know some people were, going in saying this dude's a quitter. He's a quitter. But, up until the 8th round, he was winning the fight. I have to say that, but yeah, I would have liked to seen him continue, and just say, this guy's going to keep going in here and headbutt me. Well, I'm going to beat his ass. You got to make those adjustments, not just with boxers. You got to make adjustments around headbutts and roughhousing. That's how it goes, man. But yeah, man, that's all I got on this, guys. What y'all think in the comment section? Let me know. Do you think Jamel Herring was looking for a way out? What do you think of a rematch with them? But it's like they were saying, man, if he's looking for a fight with Carl Frampton next, let me know in the comment section, because I'm just doing this off top. But yeah, like they were saying, whoever he wants to fight next that's looking at this fight, he's going to have to clean it up. Definitely going to have to clean it up, man. But yeah, that's all I got, guys. Make sure y'all subscribe. Combo Breaker 99, The Jab Effect. I'm out. Peace.